Hey, awesome, you guys. Well, welcome to today's advanced Asana session. And as you can see down here, I do not work for Asana. I honestly don't even use the paid version. I use this tool as my entire task management, project management tool. It literally runs my life. And I'll show you guys how it runs my life because I don't know what I would do without this tool. So by a show of hands, has anyone here already started using Asana? Yeah, I see a couple of you have. Okay, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, great. So I really love it for a ton of different things. Today's session is going to be more advanced. There is another session that I had recorded that's the basics. So if you feel like we're going really fast through this today, make sure that you go back and watch that 101 class that's on my YouTube as well. So let's go ahead and dive right in. And if you guys can, just for the sake of our flow for the day, put your questions that you have in the chat as they come up to you. At the end, I'll go through and read those questions aloud so that our YouTube viewers can see what was in the chat, and then we'll address those questions at the end, okay? Cool. All right, so this is the main dashboard that you can see here, right? Okay, perfect, perfect. Awesome. So like I said, this is a task management and project management tool. I love the free version. As you can see here, there's the upgrade button that you could do. What I have found in my research is that with the paid version, you get a ton more analytics. So if you're someone like Miguel, who's running a really large, successful team, you may want to opt to upgrade so that you can get those analytics to see how your team is flowing. And there's quite a few different options with that paid version. For free, though, you can have up to 15 users on your team in Asana. So that's what I've been using. I've been using the product for maybe 3-4 years now. And this year, I've taken it to a whole new level. So I'm really excited to show you guys some of these amazing projects that I've created so that you can screen grab them and use them for yourselves later on. Let's talk about this dashboard that I'm showing you guys right now. So this is where I start my day every single day. I typically will have my Google Calendar set up beside it. So I'm seeing two screens, right? The reason that I have it set up that way is because anything that I need to do for the day is going to be here in my priorities. My private notepad, this is where if I need to take a quick note, I'll pop that here in my project notepad. And then as you can see here, these are my favorited projects that I'm working on right now. This initial dashboard is customizable, as you can see here. You can add different widgets, and it's super user friendly. I love user friendly stuff. So you just drag and drop like so. And you can even customize the colors. So let me just show you really quick here. Tasks, let's do people that are in my organization. If I just pop that over, there they are, and then scroll down, there's my projects. Cool. So that is how you can customize. And again, it's so easy. You just drag and drop, drag and drop. I would highly suggest taking a solid like 30 minutes to just play around with it, see what the functionality is of it. It does take some time to learn, just like with any tool, right? So make sure that you're taking the time to go through here and learn yourself how to perfect it. So the big tasks over here, my priority tasks, that is connected to, if you look at where my clicker is over here, that's connected to this task here, my tasks. Within my tasks, there's several different views that you could have. There's the list view here, a board, which is what I like to do. You could also look at this through calendar, or if you have files within your task list, they'll be listed out here. The reason that I use the board view for my tasks are if I have something like seller checklist touch-ups, I can just drag and drop this over to something I need to circle back with. Or if I know I need to get new headshots, which I do, I can, instead of putting it off like I have over here, I could make it first priority and drag and drop it over there. Just like that. Love that. Again, I check on this daily. My brain dump, if I have a day where I'm just like ideas are flying at me, I pop it into the brain dump. It's something that I need to come back to later and revisit and really make sure that I'm in tune with. And again, this is every little project is completely customizable. You see how these over here have these little icons with the ribbon? Those are the upgraded versions, right? So if I wanted to check on these tasks, I would need to upgrade. All right, so that is the My Tasks section. Let's go to the inbox over here. If you at first don't see this black banner, it's because this hamburger button is gone away. So you just go to the hamburger button and there it is again. So when I click on my inbox, what this is showing me is items that have been completed by my virtual assistant. That's who I have going through a lot of my Asana right now. So I can see if she's completed something for the day and she uploaded a PDF to her task, I can go in there and check and see what the PDF is that she created. I can also give feedback with a thumbs up, or I can create a follow-up task for her, follow up on CMA task. And then in here, I can add in other items. As an example, I might say to her, hey, make sure that you add 123 Main Street that sold off market for this specific property, right? You can also send a message. Let's say I need to send a message to Mark, reminder, print CMA, and then Mark will be notified with that email there. So you can use this as a communication tool as well. The big thing with that is if you are running a larger team on here, everyone has to be aware that they need to also be checking this on the daily, right? If you're just the rainmaker and everyone else is not checking it, that may cause some disconnect. So just make sure that if you do have a team that you're working with, that you have instructed them to check this inbox as well. And just so that you guys are aware, I do get an email, or excuse me, Mark in this case would get an email telling him, hey, you've got a new message in your inbox. Reporting, this is an upgraded item. And as you can see here, they do all kinds of different reports. Portfolio is another upgraded item, as well as goals. Again, for me, for the 3 to 4 years I've been using it, I've been working just fine with the top 3 items here. All right, awesome. If we keep scrolling down past my favorites, which we are going to get to, if you keep scrolling down, you'll see teams down here. So these teams are separate projects and collaboration tasks that you're doing. Let me give you an example of this. So under teams, I'll go to Team Swag, which is a project that my collaborator and I were working on. So we'll go to Team Swag. From here, you can see the overview, and we could add a member to this. I could add a new project. So there's different projects within this team. As an example, swag items. This is its own separate project within my larger team. So swag items here. Let's say I have a team that is, let's add a new team. Let's say I have a team that's just for the investor panels that I host. Boom. Membership by request. So we're going to add, let's add Mark to this and create a team. So this is now a team collaboration tool where we can now create a new project. Let's say that, and again, this is the advanced class, so I am going to scurry through this pretty quickly here. I'm going to create a new project for our event that's going to be happening on April 29th. And I want it to be a board view. I'm going to just start adding tasks. There we go. Panel, to do, in progress, complete. Order, food, just as an example. So now I have this large project that we're working on, the investor panel. And then I've got smaller projects within it. This might also be helpful if you're partnering with certain agents a lot and you guys have certain clients that you're collaborating with. You may want to say like Omar and Sin's clients, and then each of these projects might be the different escrows that you're working with. So that is the teams down here. And then I'm going to go to my favorites. Real quick intermission. There we go. Real quick intermission. Anyone have a quick question that they want to ask? Okay.
Hey, Cynthia, I have a quick question. So
yeah.
You don't necessarily have to pay for every collaborator?
Correct.
So, okay. Because that's kind of the issue I'm having. I'm paying for every seat.
Oh,
so I don't have to.
Not that I'm aware of. What I understand of the tool is as the like the project manager yourself, you would just bring on people under your team and you can have up to 15 people on that team. From my understanding, you don't have to pay for each individual seat. I know that with other project management tools like Monday.com,
Yeah.
Trello, that you do have to as well. But again, Miguel, I use this on the free version, the upgraded version. I don't think you have to pay for each seat. Are they having you pay for each seat?
Well, I think what happened was I went for the mid-level, and as I started adding more tasks and more access to team members, it asked me for it to pay. So maybe I should have gone with a free version and start adding people to see if I don't have to pay it. So probably my bad.
No worries. What I would do is I would just reach out to them. Their customer success is, from what I've seen, phenomenal just for the free version. So I would imagine that if you're paying for it, they're going to get right back to you.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. All right, you guys, let's go to my favorites because I know a lot of you here are to screenshot what I've already created, which I love. I do. I love, for me, collaboration over competition all day. All right, cool. Let's go to our favorites. I'm going to start off with the Team Fast Buyer template right here. So I created this template based off of a project that Team Fast already had. I just manipulated this so that it was more towards my business. So with the template, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create this as if it were a new buyer that just got into contract. So watch this. I went up to the drop-down button for project actions here. I'm going to duplicate this project and we're just going to call this 123 Banana Way. I am going to highlight all these except for task due date. The dates are going to be different. Task collaborators, create a new project. And then down here, you can see start using 123 Banana Way while it's being created. You never want to just use the template though for each individual transaction, right? Because then you're going to be messing up your template. Your template does not ever get altered. Instead, you're going to create copies to then go in and alter it for every escrow or every client, just like I did here. Now let's go to 1, 2, 3 Banana Way. A couple things I want us to note here, starting from the far left, the overview tab. Here's how we'll collaborate. So I have my VA, she's already included in the collaborator role here. And then what is the status? Over here, if this is an escrow that is totally going on track and we're good to go, everything's hunky-dory, cool, I'm gonna leave it on track. If this is an escrow where stuff is hitting the fan, I may wanna set it to off track, right? So you can change the different statuses here. You can have a due date, send a message to members right from here. So this is all under the overview tab. And then again, there's your set status right there. Different learners and different people like to see things planned out certain ways, which is why I love this top layer row up here. So let's go through this. The overview tab is what I just showed you. Some people like to see items in a list. You'll see different favorited projects over here that I have. They're laid out in different ways for different tools, okay? For my escrows, I like to see them in sequential order so that I know step 1, I need to do this, step 2, this, step 3, and so forth. And I have while I'm in escrow and then post escrow, post closing down here. The board view, this is that drag and drop that you can do. Timeline view you have to pay for. Calendar view is really incredible. And I'm going to tell you why in just 1 second. We'll come back to calendar view. Workflow you have to pay for, dashboard you have to pay for. Messaging is free, but files is free as well. I mentioned that we're going to come back to the calendar. Let's check this out real quick. So let's say that I scheduled my inspections. Let's go back here to the list view and order inspections right here. So if I click on that task, it's going to bring up this entire new bar for me here to add information into. Order inspections. I know that when let's say I scheduled a foundation inspection for the 23rd. Cool, I can put that here, but I can comment on it. What I can also do is I can set a due date and say my contingencies are due on, let's call it the 24th. There we go. So now that I've changed the due date, I can even add a time like so. Now that I've made these changes to this subject header up here, if we go into the calendar, you can see it's listed here in your calendar. So it's a great way for you to be able to see where you are in your escrow, right? And then if you're looking at the calendar view, it'll allow you to see what date things are due. One of the really cool features about the paid version is this will integrate your Asana calendar into your Google Calendar. So instead of going in and looking at this calendar and your Google Calendar, it will integrate both so that you're just looking at one calendar. Again, for me, I like to do things on a budget, so I just go back and forth, and it's been working for me so far. Okay, customizable fields. Let's go back to that list view. So you see here how there's different assignees. So let's say that I'm going to chat with Mark about sending the congratulations email, and I've let him know that that email is due out on the 18th, no later than 2:30. He just got notified through an email and in his inbox in Asana that he is to do this task for me. And then when he comes into this project, he can come in, click this, and say that he's completed it. There is an option for once you hit complete, there is an option that this will completely delete itself off of the list. But for me, I like to have it still present with a little green checkbox so that I can see where I'm at in my escrow. Cool. And then let's go to, I want to show you guys too in the template. You see how this says to, and then it has a little bubble by it? In my template, I've already created what is going to be sent in my congratulations email. So what I do is I take this congratulations email, as you can see, here's the subject. Here's all the information that I send in that congratulations email. Now, instead of, you know, looking at different things, putting out a separate email every single time that I go into a contract, I'm typing up this email. No, forget that. This is time management. You're going to create an incredible template. Yes, you're probably going to save that to Gmail, but I like to have it here in Asana as well, in case someone else is going to be sending out that congratulations email. Like if Simi and I were in a transaction together, she can pull the information that I've already created and just send it out for us. Another thing I created was a video link, as you can see here. So when I send this congratulations email, I'm also going to be sending them this congrats, you're in contract, now what? And Brad, ooh, and it's another video of that I've just, basically what I did with that video is I told my client this entire email in a video, because again, we need to consider how different learning styles take things in, right? And that's for every industry, not just real estate. All right, cool. Let's move forward to the open house prep list, open house admin. So as you can see here, this is what I know admin tasks that I need to create. Oh, great question. Aaliyah just asked, so you end the video. So I send the video and the email. Yes, so that email, let me show you real quick what that looks like. I'm glad you asked, Aaliyah. So that email that I send them, what I do, you see how here there's like X earnest money due, XXX. So what I do is I input those dates, right? I copy this entire thing, put that in a Gmail, edit the dates for when items are due. And then I also send them in that same email, the YouTube link. And I tell them, I understand, here's what I say to them. I understand that everyone learns differently. I've also created this long email in a video format to keep you informed, but I need you to make sure that you read your timelines. Yeah, so I do both, Aaliyah. I do, yeah, so I do have templates that I use on my Gmail. This is just as like a backup in case something happens to my Gmail, in case I have like someone else that I'm partnering with and I've invited them to be a part of my Asana organization. They may not have the same template as I do. And so that's why I've got it saved here as well. And the video that I just showed you guys here, which is also on my YouTube, it is a very, very, very generalized message for any consumer when they get into contract. And it's really evident to the consumer. I never say a name. I don't give them specific dates. It's more so, welcome to escrow. Welcome, you got into contract. Yeah, great questions for sure. Cool. All right, let's move forward with open house admin prep. So of course, I got to tell you guys, the biggest reason, I'm going to be really upfront and honest with you guys. The biggest reason that I use a task management tool is I have a really terrible memory, and I am working on making my memory better, but it is hard for me to remember all of these things that I have to do for every aspect of my life, right? We do open houses, we do events, we do so many things. How many contracts are we writing a week, right? And instead of being worried with, oh my gosh, something might slip through the cracks, right? Instead of having that anxiety, I already have my templates ready to go. I have step-by-step everything I need to do. And this is someone that's been doing this 5 years, right? This took a lot of time for me to create. And that's why I want to share it with you guys. So you don't have to stumble and fumble like I did. Here it is already ready to go for you. So terrible memory has caused me to use Asana, which I love. Okay, cool. So pulling comps, here's what I wanted to show you guys with this open house admin list, and feel free to take screenshots. What I like to do here is, you see how there's the message bubbles within each of these? Instead of being like, God, where is that needs list? I know I have a list of open house needs. Where is that list? Instead of searching for it with Asana, on Canva, I know that I've already got that list here for me. Another example is print the timing for my open house signs. Okay, I go to my little bubble. I've already got my Canva link loaded here. Here's everything I need to edit. So instead of scrambling and trying to find things that are somewhere in my computer or somewhere in Canva, it's all just right here. There's no searching. It's making you a much more efficient person. Okay, so that is what the open house admin list looks like. Content planning is next. So for me, I have so many ideas about what content I want to share with the world. So here's all the ideas that I've come up with. And then once I've gotten the post created, once I've thought of what I want to send out to the world, I'll put over here to post. And then I can add a subtask. I can always go in and reference a website. And for my content planning, I like to have it in the board view so that I can drag and drop it. I've already filmed this, or, oh shoot, I forgot to post that, things like this. I have different websites I need to cover. And then these are my emails that I have sent out through MailChimp. And finally, my brain dump. And the brain dump for me is different than the ideas. The ideas are things that I know I want to do. The brain dump for the content planning is really just like, I saw this, I thought it was cool, I might think about it later, right? So that's for content planning. Let's move forward to contract details. Oh, sorry, real quick before we move forward here. Let me show you just as an example. Yeah, so this is a project, Aaliyah. Aaliyah asked, how is this created? Projects? Yes, this is a project. So when you're in, so up here, that's how you create a new project. Yeah, and so if you don't know how to do that, just go back and watch the 101 video with Jeff Phillips and I. So really quick, I want to show you guys a post that I just created, that I just sent out. So what I do is I create the image on Canva. As you can see here, these are the images that I created. And then I put in here the content of the caption, right? And then I completed it because it's already been posted. So on Monday, this was over here, and then I dragged it over. Cool. Let's go to contract details, because this is something that saves me a ton of time. So and this is realtor specific. So I hope that if you're not in the real estate industry, that you'll find a different way to use this. But for contract details, these are all the forms that I need to submit with a conventional offer, an FHA or VA loan. Here's what items I need to get with the listing agreement when I go get a listing. And then these are my intake sheets for clients. Let me show you what you're supposed to get with the conventional offer. So you could, again, you could have this in different views, right? You could have it as a list view, a board view. You could do it as a calendar. I like to have the board view for this one, and let me show you why. When I know I have a conventional buyer who's submitting an offer, and I just click this little down button here, here's every item I know I'm going to need to submit with their offer. You could also, instead of clicking the drop down, you could just click that task and boom, here it is in a much larger view. You could also add your assignee here, add your due dates. You could add it to a different project. Like let's say when I showed you guys 123 Banana Street over here, wherever it went, if I wanted to add this to 123 Banana Street, I could also add that into a different project. Or what's easiest is if you do the drop down, drop down, drop down. So again, feel free to take a screenshot of that. The sellers one over here, these are items that you want to make sure that you get with your listing. And I should make sure to say this a couple times. This is specific to Northern California, to the CAR contract. If you're in a different area, please make sure that you check your area regulations. This is in California, in NorCal, what we get for our contracts. The intake form. So this is when I'm speaking with a consumer and we're getting ready to write their offer. There are certain things that you need to ask before you write their offer, right? As an example, I need to make sure that I get my client's proof of funds. I need to get their names as they appear on their driver's license. What is the home warranty they want to get? What inspections do you want me to schedule out for you? This is questions I know I need to ask my consumer before creating a contract for them. Only once per client. Oh, so with the intake sheets, this is a conversation. So I don't send this to them in an email. I do not ever add clients to Asana because this is our project management tool. So with the intake sheets, these are questions that I ask them while we're discussing their offer. So we usually go through this anytime that we're discussing an offer. So if I have to make 2 or 3 offers for a consumer, then we would ask these questions a couple times. You're probably not going to need any proof of funds every time. You're going to know what their name appears like on their ID, right? So a couple of these, you're going to consolidate them every time that you write a contract for them. All right, cool. Let's see where we're at. 11:37. Perfect timing. I'm going to go to one more thing before we go to our question session. So the reason that I'm not showing you this board is because I have a ton of names in here and I don't want client names all over YouTube. So with my lead tracker, let me do one thing for you guys really quick. So with my lead tracker down here, okay, right there, it has the same board view so that I can take consumers from one list to the next. So my lead tracker right here looks just like this. And there we go. So here's what I have already closed on, right? So this will look in your tracker. It'll go straight across like this. And then your D list would come right next to the C list. So when I have someone in they're actively looking, they're on Real Scout all the time. That's a hot term, short-term hot client. They're already desktop underwritten. Different people list these in different ways. This is something I adopted from Brian Buffini, A, B, C, and D list. So when I have someone that was looking long-term and now they've gotten More active on Real Scout, we're talking more frequently, I'll move them to midterm. Once we started looking at properties, boom, and their desktop underwritten, I move them to short term. Once I get them into escrow, I'm going to take their name and move it over to active listings. And then finally, once we close on their home, I'm going to move them over to the closed tab. Down here, these are clients that are dropping off, clients that I haven't spoke with in a really long time. I also have, if I have a partnering lead, if someone has brought me on with their client, I like to make sure that I keep notes of where we're at there. This hot sheet, this is for, so every day I go in and I write out who I need to contact. That's here. Call notes. These are key things I want to bring to attention when I'm calling my leads. So as an example, rates went up this week, right? I'm going to have in call notes an article that I can reference when I'm speaking to my consumers and making calls. And then these are clients who have closed last year. So yeah, you're just taking clients and moving them group to group to group like that. We just went through so much stuff. I hope you guys found that helpful. Are there any questions that you have? Anything that you want me to go back to so that you can screenshot? Any questions at all? Griselda, go ahead.
Okay. So does your VA have access to everything that you've just showed us?
No, only certain things. So as an example, the My Tasks list, let me show you instead of just telling you. This, My Tasks, she does not have any access to this. She does have access to the open house prep list. You can see here, SM. That's her, that's Sia over here, Sinessa. I don't like for her to have access to everything because she doesn't need to have access to everything. Yeah, did that answer your question?
It did, and I guess what happens, I guess what you do is as you assign them to every, like you assign your VA to, yeah.
I see where you're going. I see where you're going, Griselda. Let me show you. I'm glad you brought that up so that I can show you this. This is my VA's board. Just making sure I don't have any of my passwords written up there for you guys accidentally. Okay, so this is what my VA's board looks like, okay? I have her to-do list, her progress list, ongoing things that we're doing, completed items. These are my passwords and access. These are different training videos that we've done. Every training that I do with her, I have her record it. She posts it to YouTube privately, and then she can go back and reference this. These are different MailChimp informations that I can have for her. The blog, I don't write my, oh, well, let me take that back. I write out my blog, but what I do is I'll put the header here, I'll do the body, put the link and give her the image. And then she takes all this information from here and puts it into my WordPress and makes it look pretty. She has access to my logos. These are from the East Bay weather report. So market data, housing numbers, and then she'll give me content ideas. So that's how we organize her things out. Yeah.
Oh, this is so great. Thank you so much. Because my VA did set me up with Asana and I don't even know how to work it, but I feel like this can totally streamline exactly how we communicate. And
for sure. So make sure you have you and her watch the 101 video. And Asana does have incredible classes on their own YouTube as well. Yeah.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? If you guys get stuck on anything, reach out to me, please. I am here to help you. And let me see one last. What does the agent attraction one look like? Let me make sure, Aaliyah, that it doesn't have names on it. It does. Okay, let me change this really quick here. So I'll tell you what it has on it, just because it has people's names on it and I don't want that to go all over the internet, right? Okay, cool. So under agent attraction, it is in that board view so that I can take them from interested in the team, talk to Kenny and Elias, and then set up with sponsorship, right? It has that board view that I can take them from one to the other like this, right? So I have their name. I have different websites that I've provided for them or different trainings that I've emailed out to them. I have tips from my coaches. That's a whole section. And then again, another brain dump of here's a great follow-up question script. What are my goals to attract how many agents by the end of the year? Questions to ask incoming agents, things like this. Yeah. Great question.
Okay, really quick. So with the last couple of ones that you mentioned, are those details in specific sections? Or are those their own sections?
Oh, great question. So for the agents, each specific agent that I'm trying to attract, they are, so across the top, it'll say interested in the team, right?
Mhm.
And then I'll have their name in under that. In their name, that little subtask will open up and I have my notes there of when we went to lunch together, what's the last article I've sent them as education, what's the last event I sent them, and when I called them last.
Okay, and then so for the events and stuff in the articles, are those their own sections or like, do you have ideas of which do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. So it's a little bit of both. So in the articles tab, I'll just have like different articles that I feel are really important for me to share with my clients, my industry, my attraction agents, right? I have a ton of articles there. And then if I send, let's say I send Melissa an article, I take that article, I just copy and paste it, and I put it under Melissa's name as a subtask as an article that I've sent her.
Okay, so you mark it completed once you use it. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Great question, because attraction agents, I mean, I see it also as a consumer that I'm trying to help, right? Great question. Any other questions from you guys?
Wait, actually, yes, I do. So the listing seller template, I know that you had you have the contracts. So those are two separate things. Do you, in your seller template, put the contracts in the seller template also?
So
like the sellers to get with listing and then the listing appointment prep.
Oh, I see what you're talking about here, Aaliyah. So for contract details, this is what I'm taking to a listing appointment, right? To get signed at the listing appointment. For my listing appointment prep, thanks, Aaliyah. I totally forgot to go through these individually. So for my listing appointment prep, here's what I like to prepare for my listing appointments. Again, feel free to take a screenshot of that. Let's see. So we went through VA tasks and tools. We went through open house prep. We discussed this. This Bloomington, Indiana property. This is a property. This is an investment that I'm trying to make in Bloomington. We went through content planning, coaching. I keep all my coaches' notes from when she and I meet. I keep those here. So here's my call to actions I need to do. Things I'm doing, things I need to do, things I'm doing, things I've done, what to bring up, my notes from each session. I mean, you guys, because then I can go back and look at this session from the 6th, and I can pull up all the notes that I took from that session. Instead of being like, God, where's that notepad? I know I have a notepad somewhere with a ton of information on it and I just can't find it. It's just here. We went through contract details. Events, this is a work in progress, but this is the marketing that I do behind them. This is an old one. Lead tracker we discussed. Oh, my follow-up template. Let me pull that up for you guys to take a screenshot of this. So this is step 1 through whatever this is. And you see how it's not in a board view? This is now in a list view here. This is so that when I have a client, instead of, because look, it's a template, right? When I have a client, I go here, I duplicate this to Omar, right? Let's say my client's name is Omar. I duplicate this, and then each time I complete one of these, I check it off.
So do you add this template to the clients that you have in your lead tracker, or do you just create a separate project for each client?
For that, I create a separate project for each client. Yeah.
Okay, so every client, this is for like this for all follow-up?
Yes. Yep. Exactly. All follow-up. So like, let's say I got a Zillow buyer. I'm going to make sure that I include my notes to the lead tracker, follow-up boss, Real Scout. I'll put them into MailChimp, and I make sure that I put them into HomeBot. And then here's my lead flow for if I meet someone in an open house, here's what I do. And then this down here is 3 communication touches. If they don't answer, I call back. Then I leave a message, then I text, and I email. And that's for cold calling here. Listing.
Okay, so
Yeah.
wait, really quick.
Yeah.
So you do this, so say you got me as a lead for what, however, you're also adding me to your lead tracker, and then you're creating a separate project for me with this.
Yes, what you could do, Aaliyah, is you could take your person in your lead tracker and add this follow-up as a sub project to it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so let me just give you an example here. So like the investor panel, let's just pretend this is a client. I can go in here and I can make, oh gosh, how do I explain this? I'm trying to think of how I can explain this the best. So let's add a task. Let's call it follow-up. From here, if I click out here, this will bring this up. And add to projects. So then I could add it to my follow-up template here. So there is a way that you can take your specific client and add a sub project to them here.
Okay, yeah, that seems better. So you don't have hella projects.
I think so too. You just taught me something, Aaliyah. I think you're right. Yeah, totally. I love that. See, we're all helping each other out. All right, guys. Thank you, Aaliyah. A question in the chat box just came up. Does Asana have an app, and do I use it? Oh, I use it religiously. I love the app. So the app is a whole different story. Make sure that you train yourself on how to use it. The biggest way that I use it is the My Tasks tab, that running to-do list. It is super user-friendly on the phone too. So definitely, I would suggest checking out the app and making sure that you know how to use it on your phone too, because this is not a set it and forget it type thing. This is something that you should be going back to and revisiting quite frequently. Again, I look at it every day as a part of my morning routine before I get my day started. Yeah. Awesome, you guys. I really appreciate you being here with me today. Here's my social media profile, my handle. This is going to take you, this QR code will take you to my link tree, where you can find tons more information about things I love to do, ways I love to help people, and we can definitely stay connected through all my social media channels down below. All right, you guys, thank you so much for your time today. I would love your feedback. Be sure to send me a message on Instagram if you thought that this was helpful. And if you want to share it with anyone, you guys, the YouTube link will be live in just a matter of a few moments. So I will see you guys all soon. Take care. Bye.